Genshin just unveiled an absolutely massive bombshell the other day, and the funniest part is they didn't even realize it. And quite frankly, this is gonna change the wider aspects of this genre as a whole, as well as having direct knock-on effects to other games. Let's talk about it. So, with the fast approaching release of Wuthering Waves, I was wondering what Genshin was gonna do to, compete and separate themselves from this shiny new game that's coming after its players. Quite literally, if you go through any dissatisfied Genshin video, you will see hundreds of people just saying, please, Wuthering Waves, just come out already. Now, I did hope that Genshin was hiding their trump card up their sleeve, and that's exactly what they did. Now, we weren't supposed to actually find this out, but you can't keep anything from Genshin fans. I guarantee the official announcement about the topic we are discussing will come extremely close to the release of Wuthering Waves, just so that Wuthering Waves can't yoink their idea like that's just how it works. And what we're talking about, quite frankly, sets these two games massively apart, and it answers quite a lot of questions we've had about Genshin since its release. Now, let me explain. So, the other day, we saw the recruitment image for the Genshin UCG update, sort of. Okay? This is basically a translated job posting for positions that will help develop Genshin. Now, you've probably seen this all over the internet, as I have. I couldn't get away from this. But here's the thing. Now, I don't exactly have all the time in the world to go and watch all these videos, as my thesis is in literally like 6 months, and again, I'm recording this video instead of working. But the general consensus online is that this is going to be the endgame we've all been waiting for. And I wish we could say that, we kind of swayed Hoyo versus hand here, but it's the opposite. I know people are saying we won, we got what we wanted, but I gotta tell you some hard truths here, okay, guys? I don't know how to break it to you. This is quite telling from Hoyoverse who they're targeting as players. And let's put it this way. When you type in Genshin UCG on the internet, you literally find Roblox. You find Roblox skins. So you can tell the direction that Genshin is really trying to go for. So with now Genshin showing their hand, it's obvious to see who they're appealing to. I mean, they literally mention Roblox in their job description, as well as a few other games which we'll get into now. Now, the other games are super casual, such as Minecraft. I know Minecraft's not casual, do not kill me. Fall Guys, Humanity Fall Flat, which I assume is Human Fall Flat, as well as Beast Party, which again is probably Party Animals, which is a recent game that came out. Now, what do you get from all of these games? They are intended to be super casual, super easy to get into and play, and of course, spend money. So that's what they're trying to achieve. They're trying to take a part of this market as they see that it's literally something that is having massive success right now. Don't take my word for it. They literally say they're trying to capitalize on the growing trend in the industry, okay? So it's more like they're trying to see how the gaming market works and how they can put that into Genshin. Not really how Genshin is as a game and how to push that as a game. It's kind of the inverse relationship, which is why I believe Genshin has a few weird game design choices, and it kind of shows why, because they're trying to find the gaps and then shove them into Genshin instead of, for example, what they should have done with the TCG, which is released as its own separate game, because I do like the TCG, but it feels so awkward in Genshin. Now, let's talk about some small things in the recruitment page, if you haven't already seen it. So, some of the main things they do mention is they're trying to make a modular system so that players can reuse whatever the dev makes. One advantage is that, saves dev time. So when they make one thing, it can be reused again. And two, players can then go and make their own levels, which will be really cool. And I can't wait to see what people develop, as UGC games, honestly, have some of the biggest impact. Ultimately, I do think this is a great move for Genshin, as it will support its long-term success. And I think ultimately that's what they're going for, and I think it's a great move. However, there's important things we kind of need to look at. But before we jump straight into all of that, if you are helplessly under the vice grips of Genshin or are just interested in gacha games in general, make sure to press the subscribe button so we can all be addicts together and justify the absurd amount of time we put into these stupid mobile games. Now, back to the main point at hand. Is this a bad move for Genshin? Yes, I do believe so. Because one main point they talked about in the recruitment, now this was obviously translated from Chinese, so you gotta be a bit careful, but the overall idea that I gathered was this is going to be a massive update. It's going to be somewhat decoupled from the Genshin experience, and it's going to be close to its own game. What do I think about when I hear that? I think about the TCG and the teapot. Yes, massive new game systems which survive on their own, which kind of have their own kind of gameplay systems, kind of separate from the game as a whole, which honestly could have been games themselves. Like I said, highly decoupled, and very little crossover to the main gameplay loop. And ultimately, that's the reason people don't quite play these game modes, because you have no reason to. The gameplay loop of Genshin is grind for primos any way you can. Once you've got your basic amount from the TCG and Teapot, no way you're going back there, because, you know, there's too much random stuff you gotta do in Genshin. Ain't no one got time to be building houses for NPCs in the Teapot or playing the TCG, okay? It doesn't work like that. They didn't really design that gameplay loop well. Not to say you can't enjoy those game modes, because I do like to dabble in TCG from time to time. But as you can see, Hollywood likes to throw new game modes at the wall, and hopefully one of them sticks, which is what they're kind of trying to do here as well. But I do think this one's going to be a lot better than the TCG and Teapot for a few reasons. But like I said again, I wish I could love the TCG. I love card games, but for some reason I can never get myself excited to play it, even though I wish I could. But when I log into Genshin, it's for a few reasons or a set goal, and the TCG ends up feeling like a weird addition that doesn't fit. Now, the big question is this new UGC mode going to be similar to this? Or is it going to be the saving grace that everyone keeps saying it is going to be? One thing for sure, it's not going to be this endgame content, because you don't have to get to level 100 to play Roblox minigames, okay? That's just the short answer. So if that's what you came here for, you can click off the video. But anyways, the sad news is that Genshin is kind of turning into a massive glorified minigame selector if it already hasn't. It kind of feels like the game that you log into in order to play other minigames. If this wasn't evident enough alongside the TCG Teapot, we also have our monthly rotation of Genshin's Connect 4 variation, as well as other random minigames they throw at us for new updates that really no one really asked for, and they only play for the Primo Gems. And now we're getting the Roblox update. Hey, I do like me some Roblox, so I'm not complaining here. But I just think people gotta put their head on straight. We are so down bad for Genshin content that people are trying to label this the endgame content that we've been missing for so many years. Having UGC content and player-made game modes and levels are really good for the game. But there's one big glaring problem that I don't think people are discussing too much. And that is the monetization methods. Because, unfortunately, Hoyoverse are not your friends. Instead, they just want your money. And that's how all big game companies are, and this is how the world works. Now, with many UGC games, monetization methods revolves around buying skins and cosmetics. And players usually have to find a way to express themselves in character customization, for example. I can't see a character customizer coming to Genshin. I don't believe they spent millions of dollars designing these characters, having really top-notch designs, just so people can put goofy hats and mustaches on characters just to make them feel like their own. Now, one way they can fix this is having custom player characters. But if you were to give Genshin players a opportunity to make their own custom characters and live out whatever fantasy they want, I don't think they're going to be pulling for Zhao for the 50th time. Because, you know, they can make Roblox Zhao instead. You see how it's kind of not adding up? So after seeing this update plan from Hoyoverse, well, it's not really an update plan, as they don't feel us players are worthy to be kept in the loop. So we had to dig out the recruitment form ourselves, which shows how damn bad for content Genshin players are. So it kind of made me feel, after thinking about this for a while, that Genshin characters really do kind of feel like glorified skins. I was on the party of saying, no, it's not the case. You know, the game, each character feels unique, and they have their own gameplay mechanics. After I sat and thought about it, I hate to be that guy, but now I don't like when people keep complaining about Hyperbloom. But since, you know, the balancing of the combat's been off ever since the release of Hyperbloom, it's kind of ruined the gameplay for a lot of people. So if you want to cover your eyes and don't see that, that's perfectly fine. I mean, that's literally what I do. I just play characters I like. But when you can clear the content with a simple team, with Dendro or Hydro or whatever you want to do, right? There's not much point in needing these characters apart from liking their character designs, aesthetic, and their story. So in a sense, yeah, they are kind of a glorified skin, as you don't really need them, and they're not going to change too much. I mean, just put Bennett or another attack buff with Xiangling and bam, there you go. 90% of characters are now viable. But hey, you guys all know why I pulled recently, okay? So I am not better than anyone else here. Now, one thing we do got to talk about is this trend with UGC content that they reference. Let's look at a recent game that implemented UGC fairly well, but ultimately had little to no impact to the game's depth and core gameplay loop. Fortnite. How did a Fortnite reference again into this YouTube channel. I don't know. But anyway, Fortnite recently developed a UGC mode where players can build and create maps. And these maps are like great fun. Like they're super fun and engaging for like 5 minutes before you get bored of them. But nonetheless, they are fun and really enjoyable seeing what people come up with. But they are nothing more than a distraction from the main game. Because last time I checked, ain't no one downloading Fortnite to play Gym Tycoon Simulator. Okay? It's just not how it is. When you want to play Fortnite and progress in Fortnite, you play the Battle Royale and the ranked modes. Because that's the main gameplay loop. Not to reach level 100 in Gym Tycoon. And if you want to see me go crazy and want to jump off a building by playing Gym Tycoon for 24 hours, I have a second channel, which I will be doing just that. Go check that out. Anyways, I have said a lot of negative things here. And it's just because I feel like the conversation online seems to jump the gun around Endgame. But that's not how UGC will work and will ever work. And I'm pretty sure it's the same in this case. Like Roblox, for example. I would not consider Roblox to have any form of endgame content. It's the kind of game where you jump in, play stupid mini-games, have fun with your friends, and hop off. Now, this is exactly what Genshin is going to do. They're going to make it super accessible to everybody. So your level 90 max build Raiden Shogun is not really going to have much use here, I hate to tell you. You did grind out all those hours for no reason. I'm sorry, dude. We've all been there. This is mainly going to be a game mode where you can get like 4 of your friends together, get in and play some stupid Gym Tycoon Simulator, whatever someone's going to build inside a Genshin. Probably some obstacle courses and some domain runs. Now, it will be interesting to see whether we will use our own characters or we will be provided them. I don't know how that's going to work, and that's going to be a massive factor. But it's not going to be endgame. It's not going to be this demanding content, because ultimately, if there was going to be some challenge, we want it to be from the developers. It just kind of makes sense like that. I mean, yes, UGC would be fun, but I don't think it hits the spot that people are craving for. Just look at, like, Roblox, for example, I said again. Roblox is a game that is designed to be accessible to anyone. You can play any other game you want to play in it. There's Genshin simulators in Roblox. People have built Genshin in Roblox, okay? They built, like, anime battle simulators. They built a racing simulator that had a lot of fun playing. It's literally, it's more fun than it should be. Now, this is going to be great, and it's going to support the long-term health of Genshin, but it's not gonna be what you want it to be. Let's just get that out the window. Now, ultimately, it's a good move. It shows very clear separation from Wuthering Waves. They were extremely similar games to the point where, like, you would have the conversation about being cloned, where it would be, a lot of people would call it a Genshin clone, and it kind of is in my opinion. But that's a different video, okay? Don't crucify me in the comments just because I have an opinion, guys. But anyways, whether Waves being a Genshin clone or not, I will be playing it. Jeez, I feel like just saying that even as a joke, people are going to attack me. It's not a clone, okay? I'm just joking. I'll still be playing Wuthering Waves. But now I definitely have a reason too, because it'll be the more kind of die-hard, serious, more challenging version of the Genshin experience, and that's the easiest way to put it. And Genshin will be the more casual, softer, easy to get into, get a couple of friends around and, you know, play the game. That's the clear separation they have now, and that's probably why they waited so long, so that Wuthering Waves wasn't going to yoink the idea from them, and I don't think Wuthering Waves kind of would anyway. It doesn't quite fit with the path they're going down. So, Hoyoverse intends to keep Genshin closer to the normie and casual side. It's evident now more than ever. It just goes to show where their priorities are, and that's not a bad thing. But it's great to finally know, instead of being constantly led on for the potential to change for a more in-depth and challenging gameplay experience, when it's just not coming. And that's fine. Maybe it's time you have to look elsewhere, or maybe you want to keep waiting. I will still be playing Genshin because I do have a lot of fun. Maybe I have only one neuron left in my brain, so I find it fun fighting the richest find for the 20th time. But hey, it's fun, okay? If you were looking for more challenging and demanding gameplay, I would look towards Wuthering Waves, as this was really the final separating point between these two games. Kura games, as you can tell from their previous games, they really value depth and combat gameplay mechanics, such as the first game PGR, Punishing Grey Raven. Now, I'm playing this game a lot on stream. It's like stupid fun, okay? When you compare it to Honkai Impact 3rd, you can see the familiar feeling towards Genshin and Wuthering Waves. Now, just from my quick experience, PGR feels like the more in-depth, gameplay-focused game. Honkai 3rd feels like the more casual, easygoing, fun type of game. One is not better than the other, but there is a separation there. Because if there was none, then neither game will kind of, you know, exist in harmony like they are now. But before I close off the video, there's a major problem with this entire situation. And it comes down to how the updates are now going to work with Genshin post UGC release. Now, if I was to do a bit of theory crafting myself, there was something about a position for improving the combat systems within Genshin. Now, that sounds amazing, but if I was to put one-on-one together, it'd probably be similar to the Lantern Rite event that came out recently. You know, I'd actually skipped 4.4 due to boycotting Genshin, but where you jump around on the platforms and interact with other players, I would imagine it'd be something similar to that avenue, where they mean combat as interaction and, you know, how do you interact with players in this new UGC format. I don't think it's advancing the gameplay itself, because that will be a bit too complex for what a UGC would have to do. So it's kind of going to feel like those minigames you play for primos, we are now going to just play them for not having any primos anymore. And it's kind of going to make it a bit odd, because you're going to have all of these user-generated game modes and levels, which is going to be basically the same thing as the events. But people are now not really going to care too much, because it's going to kind of reveal that people only play these events for the primos, and then suddenly people aren't going to be playing the other ones. But I don't know. That's just a theory from my point. I feel like I have to say it's a game theory out of respect for MatPat. But that's just a game theory, man. MatPat just released his final video yesterday. Pretty sad. That being said, I will be interested to see how Genshin continues the loop of putting out content when they're basically when we're already gonna have the mini games already made by the players. It's gonna be interesting to see how that online perception changes, because between me and you, apart from the Beetle mini game and this new cat mini game, I don't think anyone's really gonna want to play these mini games, and we're gonna have more fun and stupid user-generated mini games to play. So time will tell. And the closing notes on this video I would like to say is that Hoyoverse are really trying to make Genshin a massive cash cow, trying to get Genshin into every subgenre they possibly can for the sake of profits. Now I don't believe I've read anywhere that players wanted to have a UGC into Genshin, but as they said, it's a growing industry and trend, and thus they want a piece of that pie. I do think it's something I did not expect, and a lot of people did not expect, but it will be a welcome addition. Even if the decision is kind of from a monetary perspective, it will be really fun to play these new minigames. And I really want to see the depth and creativity they're going to allow the players to have in terms of at least making these game modes. Because if they do this well, Genshin can very much survive for the next 10 years or so. Now, I really do hope they implement this well. Ultimately, it will be a great thing for Genshin. I just, like I said, don't believe it's what people really wanted. And ultimately, I'm more excited with you guys than, Genshin as a whole, because it will allow you guys to express yourself. And I do believe it will be a genuine, enjoyable experience for everyone who will be looking forward to making levels, playing levels, sharing levels. I think a lot of content creators will come back to the game with this new update coming around the corner. But for now, I gotta go back to fixing my car as my power steering is broken, and I have to be in university in like an hour. So, see ya.